Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Today we have with us an eminent personality, Dr. Jagdish Bhai Joshi, for the first session on digital portfolio. Dr. Jagdish Joshi is a professor and director at UGC Human Resource Development Center and James Rennie Canadian Center of Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. He is the president of Indian Association for Canadian Studies. He is a coordinator of MHRD, ARPIC, and National Testing Agency MHRD. He is closely associated with over 8 national and international bodies across. He has been imparting professional training to colleges and universities, administrative officers of universities and colleges since 2005. He was felicitated with National Award for Education by United Nations Organization UNO in 2006. He visited about 19 countries, namely China, South Korea, Thailand, Nepal, and many more for various academic assignments. He is a member of International Council of Canadian Studies, Canada, Executive Council of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute, New Delhi, and there are many more. He is a member board of studies of Gujarat University, the MS University of Baroda, Saurashtra University, IIT Gandhinagar, and again many more. He has authored and edited 17 books. There are about 50 published research papers at his credit. 15 PhD scholars were awarded PhD degree under his supervision. He has designed about 150 courses. And the best thing about Sir is his ARPIC 2019 Swayam program stood second among all the ARPIC program in India with 9,000 participants. It's a very big achievement. Sir, it's my privilege to introduce a personality like you, and I welcome you once again. I request Sir to kindly take over the session. Welcome, Sir.
Let us straight go to digital portfolio. I would like to take you to a small journey, which I would like to show you a small content about digital portfolio, and then I'll come back and we will discuss about that exactly what I would like to show you in terms of digital portfolio. I guess you would have heard the word digital portfolio. This is what digital portfolio is, and this is what people talk about digital portfolio. See, there are several things which people talk about digital portfolio, but I just would like to show you little purpose, and then I'll come back to what and how and why we should go for digital portfolio. This shows several slides, like there are about 9 slides which talk about digital portfolio here. It talks about a learning journey. It talks about metacognition. It talks about visible thinking. It talks about assessment. It talks about now literacy and skills. Now that means it talks about the present, and it talks about who am I as a learner. That means it talks about branding. It talks about global communication hubs. It talks about communication with the parents and maybe different kind of communication and the purpose. Let us see, this is just one thing which I would like to give you as an idea. When we talk about learning journey, what exactly we mean by learning journey, or what we mean when we talk about learning journey. See, digital portfolios are meant for showcasing our learning journey as well as our career. That means I would like to say career path, whatever we do in our career. These are the two things which are generally discussed about digital portfolio. You must have seen some advertisements where people talk about that when you apply for this, with this, you have to attach your link of the digital portfolio. Maybe if you want to apply for some UGC schemes now, at present, I know that applications to UGC are almost not in much positive manner. It means because the UGC is going for a lot of changes. But generally, if you'd like to apply for any scheme of the UGC, Now UGC asks you to provide your digital portfolio links. That means either they ask you that, okay, give us your ResearchGate ID or give us our Scopus ID, or there are different IDs, maybe Vidwan ID or some other ID they ask for. Let me give you let me share a small experience with you. Just before some time, I guess it was somewhere in the month of November, December somewhere, when UGC advertised for one very prestigious scheme of MHRD, and the title of the scheme was LEAP program, LEAP. Maybe if you would have heard about it or not, I don't know. But that is a very prestigious program of MHRD. This LEAP program is meant for all the academic leaders who would like to take future roles in the front row of academics. But at present, they are working maybe on the second or third line of academics. Say, for example, they may be head of departments of universities, they may be deans of some universities, or they may be working as some positions parallel with director, dean, or head of department. And in future, they may be appointed as vice chancellors or maybe directors of the institutions. For these people, there was a program, and for that program, what they've done is they've asked for some basic information. Apart from basics, what they've said is that just link your Scopus account with this. We will look at all the data, whatever is available in your Scopus, and we will look at it, and based on that, we will decide whether we accept your application or not. I know many research agencies which now ask for your several such kind of links. Say, for example, if anybody is interested in applying for their journal to be added in the care list. Now, what they ask for a care list journal is, okay, along with other formalities, other form or other details, whatever you are providing, you have to provide your Scopus ID, and you have to provide your other maybe LinkedIn ID or other related IDs. There are several kind of IDs. I'll come to that what kind of IDs are there. Let me see, I'm just giving you some examples through which you can understand that what is the value of digital portfolios now and in future. I know that all of you are young and energetic people who have entered to this domain of higher education recently in last 5 years or so. That's why you are attending this Guru Dakshta program. So see, friends, from this beginning of the career, those who are at the mid-career or maybe at the later part of career, they can also start, because it is said that it's never late than not doing it. And well begin is always accepted. So I suggest all of you, those who don't have their digital portfolios, that you must have your digital portfolio. You should create your digital portfolio. One. Now, those who are very active and those who really feel that they are very active and they are ICT savvy, and they would like to take their students also with them, along with them, and they would like to create something good for their students. So those who are active, very active, and those who are good in ICT, for them there is another suggestion. The suggestion is, let's go little ahead. Little ahead means, I mean to say, let us go little ahead from your portfolio to your student portfolio. If I talk about developed countries, I have visited more than about, I would say, more than 100 universities in India and across. I would like to say that those people who work in universities like North American universities, or maybe Canadian universities, or maybe some European universities, or in universities like Germany and maybe some parts of the developed countries, what they do is, the day student take admission, I tell you, I would like to tell you, and I'm very happy to share this with you, friends, that those who are in Gujarat, there may be 30-40% participants from Gujarat, I guess. There may be, is it? You can, if it is needed, yeah, Ranuji, are there, the number is about 30% from Gujarat?
There are 27 participants, and they are from different states. From like Gujarat, Surat, Kerala is there. I am from Maharashtra, sir.
Great.
And West Bengal, we have 3 participants, and Assam. So we have the all India, sir.
Very good. No, why I say Gujarat is, there is a special reason. I'll let you know why. Exactly, Gujarat have taken initiative during this lockdown and after lockdown, after that is unlock 1 and 2, that we are going for a lot of online initiatives for education and implementation. For that, government of Gujarat has formed one IT or ICT Initiatives Core Committee for implementation of online education in Gujarat. Maybe many other states would have also done that, but I don't have much knowledge about it. That's why I'm sharing the example of Gujarat. And friends, you'll be happy to learn that I'm also part of this core committee of Government of Gujarat, which is working for this ICT and online initiatives. What we have done in Gujarat is we have tied up with Microsoft company, and we have taken the group licenses of Microsoft team. Those who are not from Gujarat, they should also learn from this example. Those who are from Gujarat, they should understand how to take optimum benefit of what is happening here at present in Gujarat. See, any institute, I would like to give you two examples and two things I would like to share with you, which will be very useful to you for your institution. And when you will go back to your institution, you can really make a difference to the value of your institution as far as ICT initiatives are concerned. And these two things are, if your institution do not have Google Suite, G Suite, then I suggest all of you that you are entitled as an institute of higher education. Google is giving you free access to G Suite. And how to get this free access? It's very simple. Just Google it, because we know as Google is giving it, it's very simple. I don't want to teach you that. Otherwise, I can go for a whole session on how to take free services of Google Suite and what are the benefits of Google Suite. But let me tell you just two benefits. Just let me give you idea about two benefits. At present, with the medium, using the medium, whatever we have got connected, this G Meet or Google Meet, you call it. This is very beneficial in a way that you can have a class till 250. You can enroll students till 250. That is one. Second thing important here is, you can have, now this is something surprising and this is really very useful. Those who are IT savvy, those who use Google extensively, they will jump up from their chairs after I'll say this. I tell you, how much data you get in Google Cloud? 15 GB? Those who use Google Cloud, that means Google Drive, they know that you get 15 GB, fine? Now let me ask you, if you want to use 100 GB, how much you have to pay every month? If anybody has idea? Okay, fine, no worries. There is some amount which you have to pay if you'd like to go for an account which can give you 100 GB. Now, if I'll say 1 TB, if I say 1 TB, then naturally the charges will go high. The charges are not less than about 1500 rupees for 1 TB. I tell you friends, with this G Suite for your institution, free of charge, each member of your institution, member means I would like to say from your principal to your student, anybody for whom you create a Google account, they get unlimited Google Drive access free. Unlimited Google Drive. You want to understand what is the value of this? When I say unlimited Google Drive means your librarian can digitalize all the books which are there in library and keep it on Google Drive. Your college can keep all college records and data on Google Drive without any hassle. All of you can keep all your lectures on Google Drive and there is no hassle. I tell you friends, let me tell you something about that also, that when I use ICT extensively. Earlier when I was using 2-3 devices, like I have one PC in my office, I have one PC at my home, and I'm carrying one laptop with me. That was my scene. So I'm using 3 PCs earlier. Now the scene is very different. I'm using 2 different PCs at home, 2 PCs in office, 3 different devices. That means laptops, 2 tabs and 2 mobiles. That means the devices go to about 9 to 10. I don't want to make it a show that these many devices I'm using, but I would like to talk about something very important. That's why I give you an example of this. When you use more than one device, those who are using more than one device, they may be facing this problem. Suppose you have written one letter in your office PC. That means you have drafted one PDF file or one Word file or one Excel file, whatever file in your office PC, you have prepared something. Now you are working on it and you worked for 2 hours on that file in your office. After that, you saved it and you closed it down. Then you go home. And in your home also, you would like to work on the same file. Now, what generally we do? We email it to ourselves. Those who don't use Google Drives, I'm talking about them. Those who use Google Drive, they know the use of it. So those who don't use not Google Drive, again, I am not advertising Google. Those who are using any cloud, they know that what is the benefit of cloud. So those you don't use cloud, they know that either you need to keep one pen drive, which I was doing earlier. So whatever work I do in office, I used to copy that in my pen drive. When I go home, I used to plug in that pen drive to my PC at home, and then I again look at it, and then I try to do whatever work I was doing. I used to carry about 5-10 pen drives with me, each pen drive of a different color, to show that this kind of work is saved in this pen drive. When I got little more acquainted with technology, I replaced my pen drive with external drive. So I was keeping one hard disk, and I was carrying that, and then I used to copy everything on the hard disk. Now, another thing which I started doing is I used to use one synchronizing software, as we do it in our mobiles, sync software. So I started using synchronizing software, Sync Tool, which is again free from Microsoft, Sync Toy it is called. And then what I used to do is whenever I go to office, I just run that software for 5 minutes, and then everything is in my hard disk gets synced with my office computer. Then when I go home, I used to do it. I used to do it once in a week or maybe once in a month or like that. But now, let me tell you, friends, you want to use same data. You want to start working from the same place where you stopped working, in your office or while you are traveling, when you are on airport, when you are in meeting, when you are at your home, anywhere in the world, and you would like to work on the same file. Not only that, I want Bharat to work on their same file. I want Rupsha to work on the same file. I want Farhan to work on the same file, or I want Dilip to work on the same file on which I am working. So I would like to work with a collaboration. I want Renu to give her comments on that. I want maybe Namrata to review the language part of it. And I want Tapas to look at the content part of it. I'm preparing only one file, but I want to do it collaboratively. Now, see, if I want to do it, there is a very easy option. What we do is we can mail it to everybody. Then everybody will mail their responses and they will do it. But after they will mail, who will compile it? See, 10 people have worked on that file. Everybody has given their angle, and now there will be we need 11th person who will compile everything, then put it to us that this is told, this is given by Keval, or this is done by Nikhilesh, or this is what is done by other people. Then how can I collaborate it? It is very difficult, I tell you, friends. Now Google Suite or G Suite kind of software make it very easy. You can prepare one file. Everybody, you can add 10 people, 20 people, whomsoever you want from your domain as contributors. So everybody can contribute to the same file. Anybody who opens the file, they can see exactly that what Renu has done, what Dilip has done, what Bharat has done. You can see that, and you can see everything in the same file. Even you can accept that, you can edit that, you can remove that. So this is one thing. You can look at the benefits of G Suite later on after my session gets over. But one gift you can give to your institution is you can give G Suite free to your institution, and that will save thousands of rupees per month of your friends, your students, and your institution. And the email ID will be very interesting, I tell you, friends. You can, I guess all of you must be having your website of your college or institution or the place you are working. You can use the same domain name as an extension for your email. Say, for example, my email address, which is created in this domain, is joshijagdish@hdcgujarat.ac.in. That means hdcgujarat.ac.in is our domain. Like Sardar Patel University has a different domain. That domain is also ac.in, and that is similar domain which can be used. So you can create unlimited number of email accounts for all the faculties working in your institute, not only faculties, or the students working in your institute. And they all, I am talking about this because this has a background to digital portfolio. This is one. Now, second thing, without using cloud, you cannot create digital portfolios. So that's why I'm talking about why to and how to do it. And I suggest all of you that you should read something on cloud computing or cloud. What is cloud storage? So you should read something on what is Google Drive. You should read something on what is OneDrive. Those who are not aware of, those who are aware, fine. I know most of you may be aware of what is Google Drive and what is OneDrive is. Now let us talk about the second one. Second one is you can give a gift to your institution when you go back is you can have free account of Microsoft for any educational institution. And that account is known as Microsoft Team account. Here the word is Microsoft Team, and in Google the word is Google Meet. Again, Microsoft Team also works similarly. As we are doing this video conference, this can be done by Microsoft Team. Now, why I made a reference to Gujarat, those who belong to Gujarat, they can understand this. Because almost all of you must have received an email in your college via your principal from Cogent, C-O-G-E-N-T, and you must have been asked to create account in Cogent. You must have created your accounts, and you have received an email which has extension of gov.in, that means of government of Gujarat, and it has some education word also, edu.gov.in. I guess almost all of you would have got this. And you must have received the training of using Microsoft Team also. Not only training, you must have, if you are not received, you will receive it. You must have received email accounts of all your students also. So those who are in Gujarat, what we have done in Gujarat, now let me tell you the story just in 3-4 minutes. We have tied up with Microsoft. These Microsoft Team access, anybody can get free from Microsoft. Just you have to prove that you are academic institution. The procedure is available on Microsoft. Again, you can Google it and you can get it. Or for Microsoft Team or G Suite or anything, whatever I talk about in my session, if you feel that you need some more information, if you get confused, because when I'm face to face, we can discuss many things face to face. But here we will have a constraint of time. We won't be able to do it. So let's come back to the story of Gujarat. I would like to discuss this case study of Gujarat. The case study is like this, that there was a meeting of people who are working on online courses in Gujarat. I don't want to talk more about my role in that, but just I would like to talk about how it happened. That there was a meeting including Chief Minister, and it was decided that Gujarat should go for online teaching. One core committee was decided, meetings with Microsoft have been conducted, and now let me come to the exactly core part. Our machinery has created emails, that means accounts of all the people, all the heads of higher education institutes of Gujarat. We have taken in the first go, we have taken government colleges, then we have taken grant-in-aid colleges, and now till now we have not taken self-finance colleges. We will work for self-finance college also. So first phase we have taken government colleges. We have covered about, I tell you, about 6,000 professors and almost all the institutions. Then we have covered grant-in-aid colleges. We started training of how to use Microsoft Team. After that training, my HRDC only, that is HRDC Gujarat University, and my team only conducted a training of how to create e-content. Because see, once you have digital portfolio, once you have digital things, you need to create e-contents. So how to create e-content? And we created email addresses for all the students, listen, all the students studying in all government colleges and all grant-in-aid colleges. So this Microsoft Team account can be used to teach a class. Let us take example of one college. Say for example, there is a government arts college, Ahmedabad. What they do is, they have created accounts for all the students, and they have timetable like you got timetable of Guru Dakshta, that every day 10:30 a session will start. So every day 10:30, say for example, Tapas has a session. So Tapas starts his session at 10:30 in, say for example, a class of psychology. Say for example, Keval has I don't know your subject, so that I'm just giving random examples. Suppose Keval is a professor of English.
Physics, sir.
Physics, yeah. So suppose Keval is teaching physics and Keval has a class at 11. So his timetable is set like that. At 11, Keval will use that link as you are using that link. He will click on that and he will start his class. Simultaneously, there may be n number of classes, as we have general timetable. You all know timetable. And all the classes are recorded. All the students are given activities. Each student has his personal ID. Each teacher has his personal ID. So in teacher's ID, everything gets recorded, whatever teacher does. Say for example, I have given a PPT, I have given some exercises, I have given some assignments, I have created some quiz, I have delivered video lectures, or whatever I have done. And again, in student account also, everything gets remained there. Let me tell you, I'm talking about Gujarat, but let me tell you the example of Stanford University. Stanford, you know, it is one of the very renowned university, and it is listed in the top 100 QS ranking of the world universities. What they do is this we can follow. Why? Let us talk about Stanford only. Let us talk about, there are quite a few universities in Gujarat also. I can tell you the PDPU, Pandit Dindayal Petroleum University, or I can give you example of National Law University. And there may be many universities who may be doing this, but maybe due to my limitation of knowledge, I am not aware of them. So Stanford, PDPU, Gujarat National Law University, what they do? The day you get admission, your admission gets confirmed. They give you one email ID. That email ID bears your identity and your name. Anything, whatever you want to do in your institution, you have to do it through that email ID only. You can enter in the portfolio of your, that means of your website, of your university or a college using that email ID and password. Your attendance, your result, your examination, just imagine that like we have one bank ID. Whatever we transact in bank gets deposited there. Like whatever we do in that college or university, everything gets recorded on that email ID. This you can call a simple or a very basic kind of student portfolio. So it like in every college, you must be aware that there is one file on your name. The day you got appointed, that college creates one file on your name. Say for example, we have appointed Pushpa, then we have one file on the name of Pushpa. Advertisement, interview committee, their comments, offer letter or the appointment letter, joining letter, her service book, her promotion, whatever she has done, whatever DLs are given to her, whatever leave she has taken, everything gets recorded. This is also kind of portfolio, but this is only administrative portfolio. I am talking about academic portfolio. So when students get enrolled in this institution, their academic portfolio gets created. Whatever they have done, that everything gets recorded into that. And when they pass out, at the end of the institution, they are given the access to this is continued. The highlights of this portfolio is created, and one highlighted portfolio, one file is created or a folder is created, and that is given along with your certificate. That means wherever you go to work, you have to show that not just the certificate, what I've done. Say for example, what I've done for X paper, what I've done for Y paper, what I've submitted, what are my grades in assignments, what are my results of XYZ commutative or summative results, whatever activities I have taken part in, many things. And there is a summary of this portfolio. There is a format of the summary which displays your overall performance in different things. Those who may be familiar with the mark sheet of this Kendriya Vidyalayas or mark sheets of generally such kind of schools which follow such norms as Kendriya Vidyalaya, that mark sheet also displays many things. I tell you, many universities, they give along with the certificate, they give one bunch of papers that show this is what you have done. So you can show that portfolio. I am just talking about that portfolio to be converted into digital portfolio. So what Gujarat government has done is they have created digital identity of each student and digital identity of each teacher. Now this can bear many fruits in future, I tell you friends. At present it is in a miniature form, but after 3 years or 5 years, you will see that what can come out of this. Really, this is one of very big initiative taken by the government, and I guess this kind of initiatives can be taken by all the governments or all the universities or higher education institutes. Exactly, government has done this, but we don't exactly require government to do this much. We can do it on our own also. That is what example I was giving. Like if you are interested, when you go back, you create both the accounts for your institution. One is in G Suite and one is in Microsoft Teams. After you do this, what you can do is you can learn more about it and you can go for creation of digital portfolios for your staff and for your students. I have little diverted to the creation of this kind of things, but this is very useful. Now, if you go for Microsoft Teams, again, that is also very interesting. You get 1 TB of cloud space free. 1 TB. I tell you, if you do whatever in your whole life for education purpose only, except videos, the space is more than enough than what you require just for your data processing. Yeah, if you talk about videos, I can't tell you, because videos nowadays we have latest equipments, and we have such equipments which can have a very big size even of one photograph. Or even if you take 1 minute video, it can have a size in MB, in GBs. So fine. If you take 4K videos, then naturally it will take a lot of space. But in short, you get lot of space, free space. Not only that, you get an environment to work in a team. That is why they call it Microsoft Team. 5 people can work together, 50 people can work together, 100 people can work together. Why we should spend this much time in assessing the MCQs? What is the need of it? We should create one quiz. Either we can use Google Forms, or we can use Microsoft Team quiz facility, and we can create MCQs, and just after a click, when the student submits his answer, just when he clicks, he can see the answer, he can see the result, that how many were correct and how many were incorrect. This is also possible. Now, I guess I told you, I gave you the background of digital portfolio, that where it can be created. Benefits, I told you that even for many of the schemes of government, not only schemes of government, now for many appointments also, it is very much necessary that you should have your digital portfolio and you show it. Let me again give you an example that recently, before 1 year or so, I guess in last August only, yeah, my visa to this US got expired, and I applied for another visa. This visa form of US, now they have one option in their visa form, and that is you have to provide details of your social portfolios. That means your social media accounts. You have to give identity of Facebook, Twitter, whatever you are using. They assess you through your Facebook account that who you are. You know that if you look at somebody's Facebook account, you can understand which kind of person he or she is. You can have some idea about his personality. You can have some idea about the person's comments. Like that, we have digital portfolios. Digital portfolio can give idea about what exactly we are. Now let us try to have a look at some digital portfolios. I'll take you to some digital portfolio, and then I'll explain you more about digital portfolio. But one thing, remember, like we have an identity card, earlier there used to be ration card only. After ration card, people started asking for license. And ration card and license, I don't know how many of you are lucky to see that paper licenses and paper ration card. I guess till today we have paper ration card only. In that ration card, we have our name. Like I tell you, when I got my first driving license, that was a booklet. And in that booklet, I was given my name and photo was pasted, and that was my license. Like that, there were many identities which were book identities or printable identities. Then we got converted from that to Aadhaar card. All of you know that Aadhaar number is our identity now. Not only Aadhaar card. With Aadhaar card, we went to digitalization of our licenses. Not with, we have gone earlier that means your licenses, our driving licenses, they are digitalized. Our RC books, they are digitalized. I guess all of you are aware of this, and you are using this. So our almost identities are digitalized. Still, we are working on something which US government or some other developed countries are working. They call it a social security number, what we call the Aadhaar card number. So you have one number, and wherever you go, you just have to give that number, like we are using for Aadhaar card at present. Say, for example, you are going to school for admission, just you have to go show that card. Like it is mandatory now in schools also, you know that Aadhaar card is mandatory, even in colleges also. So with that, whole data is linked. Like that, we have to create some identity. Earlier, they were paper identities. Now they have also become digital. Like that identity, we should have our digital presence. We should have our digital identity. Digital identity as an academician. What we do, what we research, what we carry out. And whenever we want to give our biodata, why to give a biodata printed of 30 pages, 20 pages or 10 pages, whatever you have, you just share a link. Let me tell you, friends, maybe Renu can talk about it when she is when she will be expressing the gratitude, that when she asked for my profile, what I have done, Renu. Can you tell it just in 30 seconds or so?
Yes, sir. You provided me a link which is on the website of UGC. So when I clicked on the link, it directly took me to your profile, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Renu. So what you can do is, friends, why you should carry your profile whenever you go for a lecture. You carry your profile and you share it with the people and they introduce. You can simply, what you do is, there are two very easy ways. One is very must, and that is you must have digital identity. You must have a digital portfolio, or you must have your website where you want to create. I'll give you some options if I have enough time. But I tell you, there is a digital identity. This digital identity can be shared with two ways. One is you can share a link. That link can be shared with people. Another one thing is, I tell you, if time remains, I'll show you. You can convert any link into QR code. You can have that link and you convert that link into a QR code, and then just share that QR code with anybody. They will scan your QR code and they can read about you, who you are. And then they can introduce you to whatever platform they want to introduce. Now I'm taking you to this digital portfolio. I would like to show you some digital portfolio and how they work. So let us go to the digital portfolio here. I guess all of you can see this website. Is it? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is the website of my HRDC, UGC Human Resource Development Center. Now, when you go to this website, there is an option called faculty. When you click on faculty, the profiles of faculty is available here. This is my profile. Under my profile, there are three options. These three options are visible, which can be read by, which can be clicked. And there is a fourth option also. This fourth option is about Professor Dr. J.S. Joshi. When you click on this kind of information gets open. This is very simple, which anybody can do, and people are using this like anything. But when you click on, say for example, you click on this view profile, what happens is, I've already opened it for you, so I'll click on that and show it to you. This is a profile of Gujarat University, where you can see various things about me. This shows you some gist about my data, that exactly who am I and what I'm doing. This is my specialization or whatever I have done and what I'm doing. It talks about my publication, my books. This first phase talks about my books. After that, this talks about my publications. So it talks about various research publications. Then there are various options. This talks about programs I have attended. This talks about papers I have presented. Still they are to be added here. This is special academic distinctions which I have received. This talks about collaborations, and this talks about consultancy. So there are various things which it talks about. This is again example of very simple portfolio. I would like to take you to another very important place, and this is this. See, this is a portfolio which anybody of you can create. This is a portfolio to be created on Vidwan. I'll show you how you can go to Vidwan. You can just go to Google and write down Vidwan. You can write Vidwan and you can write InflibNet. You can just say that you want to go to Vidwan profile of InflibNet. Click on this and it will show you this website. Now this website is created for all of us to prepare our own digital portfolios. I'll come back to this. What are the objectives, what it talks about. See, if you read this, you can read this later on, but I'll just give you just give you a brief idea about it. Is Vidwan is the premier database of profiles of scientists, researchers, and other faculty members working at leading academic institutions and other R&D organizations involved in teaching and research in India. So this is a database. I would be happy to know from you. I know that I'm sharing the screen and at present I'm not visible to you, but I'll be very happy to know from all of you that you just write out in a comment box that how many of you really have a Vidwan profile. If you have a Vidwan profile, just write down that, okay, I have a Vidwan profile. I'll be happy to have a look at it. So this is Vidwan profile where you should create your profile. Look at this. Agriculture science 4,708 profiles. Arts and humanities 4,198 profiles. Like these are the numbers of profiles. And people can look at this. When I click on arts and humanities, I'll be able to see the profile of different people here. I can search my profile also, but I would like to show, I just would like to take you directly to my profile. Here on the left side, if you can look at, these are the organizations. Like see organization type, central universities, state universities, institutes of national repute or importance, colleges, deemed universities. Like I go to state universities. When I go to state universities, I can look at state universities and I can refine my search. As I have clicked on state universities, I can see, then it comes to expertise. When I've chosen, my first is a filter I have applied is arts and humanities. Then here I have applied other filters, like I don't want to go into too much detail here, but I can filter it by designation, I can filter it by various things, and that is how I can search people. Like here, the name of institutes are also available here. You can search your university or your institute, and then you can go to it and you can refine the searches also. And you can go to your institutes, like I can just simply search. I don't want to go more into detail into this because otherwise I want to show you some other things. That's why. Under Gujarat University, it will show me different people working in Gujarat University, and that will show me different ideas. Let us go to the portfolio, which I would like to show you. Yes. So this is Vidwan ID 53027. This is my identity number, which is given by these Vidwan people. Now see, in Vidwan, it shows me similar experts. That means there are two names who are working with me in my department, and same department, they have given other two names also. Now it gives a profile about me, my publications from 1991 to 2020, this year. Let's go down. It shows my publications, journal publication articles. You can read this.
Sir, what is MISC? What is MISC 13 MISC?
Pardon?
So something is written as 13 MISC.
Yeah, that is miscellaneous.
Okay.
Miscellaneous. So 82 journal articles, 3 in proceedings, 5 books, 1 conference proceeding, 16 PhD thesis, 13 miscellaneous, then 9 in collection. Like even they show conference papers, and these are open, these are locked, like that. Now this is something very important, which otherwise you have to create, and you have to ask different people to give your index. So these are indexes. I guess all of you are aware about indexes. So it shows me citation index and H index. Here my citations, it show me that if I look at this particular citation, it shows me I have 210 citations which are noted by this Vidwan site. Then in H index, this is H index. So 3 is my H index, that is counted. There may be some sessions which have been delivered on what is H index and how it is counted. If not, you should try to study what H index is. This is Crossref. Crossref, you may be aware of that Crossref is a service which aligns references between journals and between portfolios. Like if my journal in which I publish a paper is listed in Crossref, then once I publish a paper, it automatically gets listed in all the portfolios and all databases. So there I have 163 citations. Now see, these services are different. So different services show different number of citations. Then comes Google Scholar. According to Google Scholar, my citations are 5 and H index is 2 till that means 2 and 1. There are different kind of indexes, and I index is 0. Now see co-authors. I have 67 co-authors, and you can see their names here also. See how beautifully they have portrayed this. Otherwise, you could not do this. It shows me year-wise also. If I remove one, then some co-authors will be removed. If I add it, they will be added. See, you can see the effects. Like that, I can remove some more years also. Then it will reduce the numbers. It will just show me for those years only the publications. You can see this. This is interesting to see your own analysis, that how the software analyzes your data. Now down, they talk about expertise, what I am expert in. You can talk about which are your expert areas. Then you can give your profile information, that this is what you are. Then you can give your experience, that what you are. So I'm professor, and here 2005. Then you can talk about your qualification when you got your PhD, or you can talk about whatever qualifications you would like to talk about. Then honors and awards, whatever you have received. Say, for example, I have received Sahitya Gaurav Samman in 2015, Excellence in Education in 2006. You can talk about that. Doctoral thesis guided. Whatever doctoral thesis you have guided and they are awarded, you can look at their list. It shows 2-3, but if you want to read more, you can click on this and you can see it. It shows your memberships in professional bodies. You can again write on this and you can look at more. Like I have written 2019 Gujarat University Executive Council, 2019 Gujarat University Academic Council, 2019 Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University Board of Management. You can talk about various memberships of bodies. Now, membership in committees. You can talk about different committees which you are member of. Research projects. Whatever research projects you have completed, you are working on, that information you can provide here. Like I have worked on a research project which is titled as Researches in English, and I have received funding of 7,16,790. See, everything is available here. And I have completed this project that was started in 10, completed in 13. Publications. Total, I have 132 publications, and these publications are available for people to have a look at. Now, I have various options to sort my publications. I can sort them by oldest or newest, ascending, descending, publication type or title. See, so this is how anybody can look at your portfolio. Where this is in proceedings, this is in proceedings, this is an article. See, this all information is available. What is the title? See, now when it says it is logged one, this is a DOI. DOI, I guess you know what DOI, this is unlocked, sorry. DOI, I guess you are aware of what is DOI. Digital Object Identifier. If your article has a DOI, that means Digital Object Identifier, then people can just find out your article by clicking on that. Each article must have DOI. If you have DOI, that will be very easy for you to get references, like I clicked on this DOI. See, now it shows me my paper, and this paper was published, and it shows whole paper, and anybody can read this paper. Just by clicking on DOI, that can take you to that site. Now see, this DOI is logged. Let me see it, whether it opens or not. If my university has access, that will open. Otherwise, it will not open. See, it will not open. It says it did not found. But there may be some issue also with the number of DOI. Now see, so like this, you can find various articles and various information. I don't want to go for too much detail here. I can go on. See, here this one has top citations. That is what it talks about. That this has 5 citations, this has 8 citations, and it has 5 recent citations, or like that. So this is how it shows your different publications. You can go on all the information about you. Now, apart from this I have entered as my username and ID is here. So I have entered like that. Otherwise, let us go to this. I have shown you main part. Now let us go to the left part. Your picture is there. On the left part, there are different options. You can just go to personal information. You can directly go to that. You want to look at experience, you will just directly go to experience. So these are the headings like that. Now let us go to more interesting part. This is a very interesting part. This talks about all other kind of digital popular portfolios. You must have heard it. This is a ORCID. So ORCID portfolio is there. ORCID also allows you to create your portfolio on that. So this is ORCID portfolio. I'll click on that and I'll show you how ORCID portfolio looks like. So when you go to ORCID, you need to create just one thing. Just 1 minute, I would like to tell you. You need to create all your this digital portfolios, all your this digital identities. You create in Vidwan, you should create it in ORCID, you should create it in Scopus, you should create it in Researcher, you should create it in Google Scholar, and you should create it in Microsoft Research Identity. Now, these portfolios, they sync information from one and another. Say, for example, I have Scopus portfolio. Scopus data will automatically be fetched to this Vidwan. If I have ORCID ID, that data will also be automatically fetched to this. So you don't have to upload everything everywhere. And if your publication has DOI and your proper information, that will automatically upload your data into these profiles also. You don't have to upload them, but you can review that each month. Whatever you have done during months, for example, you have presented 2 papers, you have published 1 paper, your 1 student had got notified of his PhD, then these 5 things you have to upload on your portfolio. That is fine. So like this, you can upload this one, ORCID ID. You can register for ORCID ID. I am showing you my ID only here. See, it is Jagdish Joshi here, and it shows different information about me. Like it shows my employment, what are my employment histories and what is my employment, it shows. Then it shows my qualification here. Whatever you have entered, that will only be shown. Say, for example, I have received a travel grant from MLA, Modern Language Association of US. I have received that research is an English project. These are my works. See, here it shows 215 works. Now, as I told you, various portfolios have various priorities and various criteria. It is not necessary that all of your data will be available in each portfolio. Each portfolio has some specialities. So this is how it shows. Even it can be in a print view also. I am also known as Jagdish Joshi. My country is this, keywords which identify me. Even it talks about my other IDs. See, my researcher ID is linked here. My Scopus ID is linked here. With this Vidwan, all my IDs are linked. But with this researcher, only my 2 IDs are linked. So if anything happens or gets updated in this ID, it will automatically be updated here also. If it gets updated here, that will automatically get updated here also. So that is why linkages are important and synchronization is important. So this is what is ORCID ID. Now I would like to take you to Scopus ID. I can go to Scopus ID from here also, and I can go to Scopus ID from here also. So for example, I click here, it will take me to Scopus ID. It is taking some more time than usual. Let me come back to this and try it from here also, if it gets updated or opened more easily from here, because it is going through different links. That's why. Okay, meantime it gets open. Let us click on this researcher ID. That is also working. I'll click on each ID so I can show you later on these all IDs as they open. Okay, I've clicked on each ID. Yes, this one is open. Google Scholar ID is open. So see, when you go to Google Scholar, it will show you like this. It shows information like Gujarat University, Ahmedabad. I'm here and I'm with this university here. And it shows my areas. It can take me to homepage also. See, this is my homepage, Gujarat University. See, all of you should do that also. You should connect your ID with this. Let me tell you, friends, I guess you know that now when you apply for NAC, maybe some of you would have filled in a form of NAC recently. When you apply for NAC, it tells you, it asks you for so many links. It asks you that, okay, for your staff, give profile link. You have published the paper, provide evidence, provide a document. Very easy. When you have uploaded these things on these websites, just provide a link of your portfolios. So anybody can see that. Not only that, as the score, I'll show you, as this Google Scholar shows score, yes, as this Google Scholar shows my citation and my score, it can show the score of Gujarat University also. If I'll take you to Gujarat University, see, this is of Gujarat University. Now in Gujarat University, what are the citations of people? Say for example, here Pranav Srivastava is one of the professor, and his citation is cited by 3,673 people. Like that, there are different people, and they are cited by different people. It shows top 10 people cited of my university here. We can see to my number where I fall in. I don't know exactly, but with you, I'll also look at it. I don't fall in first 20 also. See, people are cited by Google Scholar. I'm talking about. I fall in somewhere at the later part. I don't know, but it falls somewhere even after this. Yeah, because my citations are in Google, they are very less. So I am cited, maybe see what number I am cited here. And we should be transparent and we should be open to it, that where I am or where we stand for. Yes, here I am. I am cited by 5 only. So I am maybe in, if you look at number, between 61 to 70 in as far as citations of Gujarat University are concerned. See, so this is how you can look at, you can ask to prepare a portfolio for your office, that means your college. Under that college portfolio, you should have your portfolio. This is how it happens. Here again in this portfolio also, it shows different kind of details. Like it shows all the papers which are here. See, all the information about the research papers which are published. Here, show more, if I'll say, it will show more. So all my research papers published, they are all listed here. They are listed from 2009. These are 1 to 100. My 100 research papers are cited here. But if you go more, here, I have total 116 citations here, shown here on this. You can see this. Now let me show you another one. This is Microsoft Academics. Here also people have their portfolios, and you can see the portfolios. This shows top authors in chemistry, top institutions in chemistry, top conferences in chemistry. Like at present, it is showing you something related to chemistry, but why it hasn't opened mine? Let me click once again. It should open my portfolio. It is not opening my portfolio. Will not spend much time, just I'll write my name. If it finds out, it's okay. Otherwise, we'll go to the next one. Maybe this may be my portfolio. I fill. Yes. Jagdish Joshi. No, this is not my portfolio. So there are similar names also. Yes. This is my portfolio. You can search it like this. See, Jagdish Joshi, Gujarat University. So it shows Gujarat University. It shows my publications. Here also it shows you some publications and some other information. We have seen this one. This one we have seen. We have seen this Microsoft Academic portfolio. We have seen this Google Scholar portfolio. Now let us look at Publons. This portfolio shows you, this is showing you 76 publications here. It can show you the matrix. It can show you, this is how the matrix chart is. It can show you the summary here. Summary of the articles, and it can show you the publications also. This is Web of Science portfolio, which is empowered by Publons. Web of Science, you would have heard the word, and see, this is the identity number of the profile. And under that, these all the publications are listed, whatever I have published till now, and whatever are listed in this. Maybe some of are available in different kind of categories, like this is Web of Science, there it is listed, like this you can find it. Now let us go to Scopus. This is Scopus ID, and Scopus is, you know, it is very, very much strict about their norms, and they add only few selected things into that. So, and I belong to Arts and Humanities, only my 2 documents are listed here with Scopus. Though I have more than 215 publications, but Scopus has listed only 2, you can see that. This profile we have already seen. This is also Scopus one, we have seen that. Now I would like to show you another one ID, which is very popular, and that is called ResearchGate. Maybe you would have heard the name of ResearchGate. This ResearchGate is not a part here. ResearchGate is not a part of this Vidwan portfolio. That's why I have opened it separately here. This ResearchGate here, it shows information about me, like it shows overview about me, what languages I know, what disciplines I work in, what are my skills and competencies or expertises, what are total research interests, my citations, my rates. 1,981 people have read it. like who are following me. There are various people whom I follow, and there are people who are followed by me, like this, following and other things. Yes, evaluation, it is asking me, is it I am the author or not? I would like to accept it. Yes, I am the author. So see, like this, it has searched my paper somewhere, and now it is asking me that whether I am the author or not. So I've said that I am the author. And my co-authors it is asking for, but at present I don't want to accept the co-authors. So I accepted this also as publication. So it will add that data also to my portfolio now. So this is the data which is added to my portfolio. If I am not the author of anything, and if it has identified without my knowledge, then I can just remove that from my publications. So see, it shows all, they are 60. This is what here which it has added. And I can add full text also here. Like say, for example, here, this is an article, evaluation of the English textbooks of Standard 6 of Gujarat in the light of NCF. Now I can add full text here if I am interested in. I can add supplementary resources to this, and I can add a project also. These are my options. I can answer questions. I can confirm my authorship. If I click on this, if there are any questions about my authorship, it will ask me, and then I can confirm my authorship. So see here, I can I read regular respect of Nectalytics. Now this is, I am not the author, so this is not me. I'll say this is not me. But like this one is a study of female in context of dream versus reality, Bharti Mukherjee. Now I am the author of this. So I can say, yes, I am the author. So I am the co-author. So I said, yeah, this is something which belongs to me. Like this is a result of simple Olympiad. I am not the author. So I'll say, no, I am not the author. Now this is our paper, replica of contemporary Indian society in Chetan Bhagat, Two States of Mind. I can say, yes, I am the author. So whatever you have published and you are author of it. So like that evolution and this NCF, yeah, all of you know that this is also myself. So I can say, yeah, this is published by me. Now critical appraisal of Emperor Ashoka. I have not done this. So I'll say I'm not this. So like this, you can go for this, and that is how your data will be added and you will be able to see your different things. So these are the digital portfolios. Let's come back to our session here. I'm stopping the sharing here, and see, this is how simple kind of digital portfolios are created. You can also think of various kind of digital portfolios, and you should try to create your digital portfolios. When you create digital portfolios, there are few things which you should take care of. Like you should prepare all your data, keep your data ready, like all the research papers, DOIs of the research papers, all the names of your books published, DOIs of the books, at least not DOIs, then you can keep your ISBN numbers of the books and all basic information of the books with you. You can keep the details about your PhD students you have supervised. You keep the data about your research projects you have completed. You can keep the data about, so like this, whatever you have done, I would be happy to read it. Like here, I just would like to look at it that, yes, one question is, did you manually enter a publication detail to another way in Vidwan? Yeah, in Vidwan, there are two ways you can enter your data. One is you can enter it manually, or you can export it from other portfolio and import it into Vidwan. See, most of these digital portfolios allow you to export your data into some format and then import the data into another Vidwan. Say, for example, I would like to export all the data of my Google Scholar, and I want to import all that data into Vidwan. That means you have to enter manually data only in one portfolio. Decide that which portfolio you would like to enter. You can decide that, okay, my basic portfolio will be Google Scholar. So you enter all the data into Google Scholar. After you have added your data into Google Scholar, go to export. I guess I won't show you that. Otherwise, I could show you, but because I'm looking at the clock also, it is 11:52. If I'll show you, it will take more time. I would like to talk about more important aspects. So you can go to Google Portfolio. You can go to export option. It will export the data. It will ask you different options. then in which format you would like to export that. Now, before you export, you should look at another portfolio that which formats it accepts as import. So you should export in that format only. After you export, just import that into another one and it will accept that data. So you don't have to do it. ORCID ID is, yeah, very true. ORCID ID is there with somebody. Very good. I'm happy. Kunjan Kumar posted his ORCID ID detail also. Congratulations, Kunjan. I'm very happy with you that you have created it. Keval has also Vidwan profile. Very good, Keval. I'm very happy to see that. There are people who talk about, yes, submitted, fine. It is something different. Submit your attendance, fine, okay. So you need to submit your attendance in Google Forms. That's good, great. So you have submitted that. Now I guess there is no other comment here. Fine. If you have any questions or comments, you can put it here. I'll reply that, not a problem. Okay. So what I would like to tell you is, it is very much necessary. There are 2-3 people here who have some IDs. All of you should create your IDs. These are known as digital portfolios. There are different kind of digital portfolios and different types of digital portfolios. But these are something very important, which I think all of you should create and all of you should prepare. So these are very important. At least you should start with Google Scholar, or you should start with Vidwan, or you can start simultaneously. Either keep Vidwan as the basic or Google Scholar as the basic. It's very simple. Start preparing it. Yeah, very true. In BibTeX also, you can import data. There are different other formats. Very true. So what you can do is, you can prepare your data into one, and then that data can be imported in other profiles also. And that is how your visibility is possible. I tell you, if government is preparing a database of, say, for example, experts of your subject, what is the easiest way for government to look at? They can just go to Vidwan and sort it out, that who are the experts of Sanskrit, who are the experts of physics, who are the experts of English, and they can get the data and they can use it for various purposes. When you are applying for anything now in applications, you will see the biodatas are like, okay, this is my profile, I'm XYZ, and this is my expectation from the employer, this is what I can deliver, and these are my links of the digital portfolios. That's all. You can just give a half-page profile which includes the link to your digital portfolios and some basic information which you'd like to give. That's all. So this is how, not only this, see, there are plenty of people who can watch, who can see. LinkedIn is also one of very popular platform. You can use it, but that has exactly, it has little different purpose, but fine for job search and other connections and networking. But you can use LinkedIn also. That is also very important and very useful to all of us. In short, the future is such that we must have our digital presence. Jungle mein mor nacha kisne dekha? That is what people say. You would have published many papers, you have done a lot of work, but that is not visible to the world. I have talked at present in today's session, I have focused more on kind of research portfolios. But the thing which I have started with, that is Google Drive or some other things, you can have your teaching portfolio also. Whatever you teach, whatever you plan as a lesson, whatever you prepare as data, whatever you take as feedback, like see, you can think that now onwards, at least once in a month or once in a week or for every lecture, those who are so enthusiastic, they can do it for every lecture. That for every lecture, I will follow some process. What process? Before a session, I will prepare one say for example one section in my Google Classroom, or one section in my some Google Drive. Say for example, I will call it a F5BA or F5BCom class, and then I prepare that folder. I will write F5BA 2020-21, and then I will write a date. I will prepare one folder with the name of date. In that, I will keep all the material, whatever I would like to share with my students, and I will share the link. I will record that session, whatever I am delivering. So session is recorded. Whatever I have delivered, that is also there. Then I will prepare one simple feedback form, and I'll share that feedback form with my students. I will ask them to give their feedback. It will not take more than 5 minutes. They will give their feedback. I can take a test if I'm interested. I can prepare one very small MCQ or very small kind of quiz, which all the students can answer. What I can do is, even apart from that, what I can do is, I can have some synchronous test, like I can have a continuous assessment part. I can give them some activity, that this activity all of you have to complete and you have to submit by tomorrow. And for that submission of the activity, I can create a Google form, that in this Google form, all of you can submit your activity. See, just from one session, you can have this much data. Like you have your attendance is taken, you can do that also. That you can ask them that there is a form and you have to give your attendance. Now it depends on which kind of learning management system you use. Depend on that. Some systems take automatic feedbacks, that just you have to prepare some customized data. Some systems, they take automatic attendance or like that. So that is what you can do. So there will be your portfolio. So your portfolio will also get increased day by day. It will become rich, and there will be student portfolio also. So each of your student will develop their portfolio, and each of the teacher will develop their portfolio. So whenever you want to go for a job, whenever you are going for something else, let me show you one thing what I am doing. You can do this also. Like you can have your YouTube channel also. Whatever videos you are going for, they can be uploaded on YouTube also. That is also part of your profile, and that also you can count as a part of your profile. Maybe later on when you are free, you can go to this YouTube part, and this is my say for example, this is my YouTube channel, and see, just I would like to show you. That's why I'm taking you to this. What I do on my YouTube channel is, see, you can see that this is my channel. And okay, let me take you back a little so that you can understand. So this is my dashboard. Any channel has a dashboard. This is my name, and you can see here, this is my account, and here it shows Joshi Jagdish information and that. And this is my dashboard. It shows the performance, whatever the performance is. And now I take you to the part which I've talked about. So see, what I've talked about is, this is what my YouTube channel is. And here what you can do is, in this you can have I can take you to YouTube Studio, where the statistics will be visible. In the statistics, this is a portion called analytics. In this analytics, it shows you what I have just spoken. See, I guess it is visible. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So see, these many views are there in 28
Yes,
days.
sir, it is visible.
Yes, these are the subscribers. These are the views in last 48 hours, 9,704. How this view happened? Because you talk about topics which people may be interested in, like what is research, like various ideas which I talk on, and people may listen to it. And you see this highest views in last 28 days, it shows me 3,250. So like this, it happens. So your portfolio can be multi-faceted portfolio. You can think of three things for your portfolio. One is a research and academic portfolio. Use Vidwan, and along with Vidwan, I talk about researcher, Scopus, and there are various IDs. So you create there, maybe on Google Scholar, that is one. Second is, you can go for a YouTube channel of yourself, and there you will have various lectures which you have recorded. And third is, you can go for a portfolio, as I told you, a teacher portfolio. Like whatever you do, you can record it on Google Drive or something that will be useful to other people. I guess with this, I'll end my session. If you have any queries or questions, you can share it with me later on my email address. What I can do is I can share my email address here also in the comment box, so that you can ask me questions. Later on, you can share me your questions if you have any, or queries. It's over to you, Renu, I guess.
Thank you, sir. So thank you so much for such informative session. Sir, you have taken us to the total journey of how to create a digital portfolio, and have explained as an academician how it is very important to create a digital portfolio. So, and especially, so you have highlighted on your Gujarat case study of ICT and online initiative. and suggested about how higher education in India can go for Google Suite and the various advantages of having Google Suite by the organization. So in our organization also we use Microsoft Teams. As you suggested, it is also one of the good portfolio platform there. Sorry, a platform which can be used against Google Suite. And having OneDrive being a faculty is also very, very important. And I appreciate, sir, your case study and your team efforts of how you have conducted training for going for online classes. Thank you so much, sir, for giving a very brief idea about Vidwan and how to register, ORCID, and Google Scholar, Microsoft Academy, ResearchGate. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you so much.